What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Deiphago, entitled I the Devil. This is released on Hells Headbangers Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are originally based out of the Philippines, but are now based out of Costa Rica. And the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very fast, brash, blasphemous hybrid of both black metal and death metal. Yeah. Listening to this band definitely feels like you're in the course of being set to go to battle and go to war, because anytime this band puts out material, it's always going to be something crazy, wild, and over the top. I mean, this band has had a very, very wild and woolly discography, and to think that this band has been in existence for almost 30 years is insane. Pretty much the 2000s was where we got the true identity of what this band was all about, with full-length albums such as Satanic Eon and Filipino Antichrist, and then later on with material like Satan Alpha Omega. Just some really top-notch material in terms of musicianship, technicality, vocal work, artwork, just some crazy stuff. But then in 2015, we got an album from this band entitled Into the Eye of Satan, which showcased this band branching out into more diverse and experimental sort of territories, having the great Colin Marston do production work on that album, and really bringing out the best in this band. That album was just something crazy and scary to listen to, and I think that album still holds up very nicely. And then last year we got a little taste of what was going to be coming soon from this band in the form of a self-released demo. Just more of a glimpse of the craziness that this band is continuing to branch out and work on. When I found out that there was going to be a new Deiphago album coming in 2019, I was very excited. More intrigued by the fact that this album was going to be mixed and mastered by Kurt Ballou. Yes, the Kurt Ballou who did work with bands such as Converge, and of course does production work for bands such as Nails, and most recently, the new Full of Hell album. Yeah, I was very shocked, and I'm still shocked that they decided to work with somebody like Kurt Ballou for this album, and I wanted to see what type of ideas and experiments this band would bring with this new full-length album. And here we are with the 5th Deiphago album entitled I the Devil. It's 8 tracks, and it clocks in at around 39 minutes in length, and pretty much this is the lengthiest Deiphago album to date. And in addition to this being the lengthiest album in their discography, this is probably one of the most riskiest, most ballsiest things I've heard this band do yet. Because they take what they worked on Into the Eye of Satan, and they go pretty much balls to the wall crazy here with this one. It's going to be a wild and crazy listening experience, and I can pretty much tell that this won't be to everybody's listening ears. But for those who do know what to expect with a band like Deiphago, I think you're going to be in for a very, very contagious thrill ride with I the Devil. Because this is just the band fully merging into a more evil sort of beast here with this album. I mean, you have an intro that pretty much sets the tone off perfectly and right away, and then when you get to songs like Quantum Death and Neuro-Satanic Circuit, you can already tell that this band is just going for broke here and just going crazy with their musicianship. And that's the one thing that stands out about this album, is the fact that this musicianship is so wild, so crazy, and so over the top. It just makes you stand back in awe as to what the fuck is going on here with this album. And I think it's really entertaining. The riff work on here, the spastic soloing, just very frenetic and atonal sort of guitar playing going on here throughout this album. Listening to songs later on like Deus Alienus and Anti-Cosmic Trigger, just some really, really wild and over-the-top guitar playing going on here. I really appreciate what's being done here throughout this album, especially when it comes to the more frenetic and over-the-top sort of solo material that you hear throughout this album. It's just really crazy. I had fun listening to this thing. The bass work on here is very good. Like the previous Deiphago albums, you can definitely tell you're going to hear some very well-played and well-executed bass work. It definitely sounds good. It's very well played, and I definitely think it's in tune with a lot of the heavy and wild guitar playing that's being done throughout this entire album. The drumming on here is something to behold here because, like I said, this is a very over-the-top and spastic sort of album when it comes to musicianship and pure gamesmanship here, because this drumming is just over the top. A lot of blast beats, a lot of fills, a lot of creativity, almost verging into more avant-garde and experimental sort of territories here with this drum stuff, especially for some of the lengthier songs that are on this album, going back to songs like Anti-Cosmic Trigger and the closing track of the title track. Just some very crazy drumming going on here, and I think it's very entertaining to listen to. And when it comes to the vocals, of course, you know Voltaire and his vocal style. It's very, very drastic, very angry, very venomous. You definitely feel it in his vocals and his style, and it's just really crazy and entertaining to hear him do the vocal style that he does so well. Especially towards the first and second halves of this album, you definitely can tell there's a shift change in tone and temper. It's just really crazy stuff, and I really enjoy his vocal deliveries here. So overall, this is definitely another crazy and interesting album in the Deiphago discography. I don't know if I want to say that this is probably their best album to date, because I still hold Filipino Antichrist in high regards, but I the Devil is something special in its own right. I appreciate the fact that this album is so experimental and so ballsy, and definitely taking a lot of risks here. If you're into Deiphago's material, I think you'll find something to enjoy here with I the Devil. I think this is some really, really wild stuff, but only a band like Deiphago could really pull it off. So, if I had to think of any personal favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Quantum Death, Neurosatanic Circuit, 1146 is another great track. The song Chaos Protocols, which was on the self-released demo, is on this album, and I think it sounds really good too. And of course, Anti-Cosmic Trigger, so really top-notch stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you a link in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will leave you a link to the Deiphago Bandcamp page where you can listen to this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can stream it, buy it digitally, and it is available in a wide multitude of physical formats: CD, digipack CD with fold-out inverted cross stuff, cassette tape, vinyl, picture disc. Lots and lots of ways to get a hold of this album. So again, the album is I the Devil by Deiphago. This is released on Hells Headbangers Records. Go check this one out. And for a score, I'm feeling a very solid 9 out of 10 for this one. Like I said, this is probably going to be something that you really need to have a lot of strength and endurance to listen to. This may not be for everyone, but for everyone that's into Deiphago, you're going to have a damn fucking good time listening to this one. So if you happen to have heard this album, definitely let me know what you think about it, how you feel about it, and how you think it compares to previous Deiphago releases. Or any of you guys into Deiphago, definitely let me know. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until next time, Army Ho out.